So we've wasted way too much time today on this stupid moped. So down here we've got no rear brake at all, so it doesn't matter. I thought it might have been an adjustment issue. It doesn't matter. When we pull this, there's no rear brake. I'm going to pop the wheel off and see what we're looking at after, or tomorrow, whenever, and have a little look at what's going on. It could be an adjustment issue inside. They could be fitted badly, or they could be completely worn to the point where we need new ones, and that's okay. That's okay. We'll get a set and we'll put them in. But yeah, I can push this all the way, and it very gently slows the bike down, but it's not doing what it should be doing. The exhaust headers, they're not terrible, but they're not good either. That's the what side? That's the left side, so that's about as good as it looks. I'm gonna do something that I think is probably going to be unpopular, but it suits my kind of idea of a sensitive build, and I'm going to wrap them. Basically, I'm going to wrap them so that, yeah, the wrapped look on this kind of bike is a great one. People like it. I know that it can add a bit more moisture to them. It's fine. It's fine. It's nothing I'm worried about at this stage. I'm going to wrap them, put them back on, because the battery's coming today, so I could have had a basic test run, although without a rear brake and a questionable front brake. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's questionable. John Freed said it felt fine, you know, for what it is, for its era and stuff. So, not overly worried, but saying that, we don't want to test run a bike with one questionable brake, I think. So I am going to get into the rear wheel. That's my next and last task for today. I'm going to put the mopeds aside because they're driving me nuts. Tomorrow I'll be buttoning that back up with no front brake and selling it as it is still. And with this one, I want the exhaust wrap back on, and I want to at least look at the rear brake and see what's going on the inside. Alright guys, wrapping up for today. The exhaust wrap, I had to do it off the bike, and then to get the chock on, it was hard to do. So tomorrow I'll add this extra little bit and cover that up. That'll be fine. It's like that on both sides. I like the wrap. I think it's clean. I think it works. I did bits of cleaning up. Rear brake feels great. I'm really glad about that. And then stuff that you won't necessarily see behind here, but like I painted the brake bar black, the bottom brake arm black, stuff like that. So I was hoping to get the battery today. It is due today. It should be here, but it will obviously be here later. So first start and run, well, first, you know, putting it into gear and trying it should be tomorrow, really, if we're lucky. I absolutely can't wait. This is in my head what I want. This a legal version of that, actually, with some side panels ideally, and a rear light and a rear number plate. That's the bike that someone can jump on in London and go and drive around, and you'll still look cool and retro, and you don't have to pay many or any charges at all, really. Just cheap insurance and go. So yes, welcome back. This has really sparked debate, this bike, and that's brilliant. That's great. One thing it's done for me is it's really clarified the fact that I don't want to be restoring bikes. That's the truth. I want to be saving bikes. Anyone who wants to restore them after me, more than welcome to. I always leave plenty meat on the bones for people. Always. I always encourage you guys to ask for these bikes, because you get them at stupid prices. You know, I'm not here to make stupid amounts of profit out of people. I did some of the rapid yesterday, but because of the way you set these up at the top, it's hard to get the top bit. I need to do the last little pieces today to get that to the top. I did bits and pieces of blacking that you won't necessarily see, and cleaning that you won't necessarily see. The brake arm, the kickstart, the brake, rear brake lever and arm, bits like that. I obviously did the rear brake. That feels lovely today. It feels spot on. Front brake I did. You know, front brake I was winging, if I'm being honest. I took it out. I cleaned it with brake cleaner. I put it back in. I took the pads out because they were kind of seized because of corrosion. Cleaned all the corrosion away, a little bit of grease to stop it coming back, but of course nowhere near where the pad will sit. So I wing that, but the front brake feels okay. I have a feeling it's not necessarily going to stop me, but I don't know if they ever did anyway. But I do have a rear brake now, and I have a battery sitting right here next to me. So today you might get your first basic test run. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be flying up and down the street. Ideally, Rabjab turns up, I will let him test it, so we don't lose the star of the show, you know. And let's go from there. People say that it will not run without air boxes. This was revving beautifully in the last video that you saw. So under load it might be different. But we won't know until we feel it. If this runs okay, I would happily just get little caps on the end of there with mesh, or run something behind a rear panel, pod or something, run it, you know, back that way. Basically keep it simple. I'd very happily do that. I'm desperately trying to find the rear panels. Some just popped up on eBay for 120 quid left and right. It's probably well worth doing, guys, but I literally can't afford 120 quid at this stage. I might be able to in a week or so, and because of these higher prices for these parts, people are generally not buying them. Like the carbs did sit on the shelf for a good 2 weeks, so I should be able to get the two side panels maybe when the next YouTube payment comes in. The YouTube payment, guys, between 180 to 200 pound a month at the moment, so that's roughly 1,000 watchers when I put a video up at the time, you know, roughly 1,000 at the time. Some videos do a bit better than others. It's the comments, the likes and the subscribes that make the difference. And of course with that 180, it was 180 this month, and I'm surprised because I did more this month. I thought it'd be higher. 180 this month. You could buy them side panels, for example, to keep the projects going. But if 50% of the people watching clicked the like and left a comment, no matter how ridiculous the comment was, the channel could do, you know, more. Could do more. I love the shape of this bike. You guys haven't really properly seen it like this in its basic form. This is kind of what it's going to look like with its side panels. I am in two minds about paint on the tank. I really am. What I would like to do personally is kind of fill in all the orange bits with touch up. Just touch them up, all the orange bits. In the black, so the black looks a bit nicer and blacker, and polish, really gentle polish, clean, put the things back on and leave it be. I want a black and silver rear number plate, and it'll be hanging down at a level like this, and a very basic rear light. The rear light thing is here. I don't know what's going on. It's no matter how much I adjust it, it's not, doesn't really go back up, so I need to kind of work out what's going on there so that we can resolve that. The brake I've adjusted from here, but actually it has a tiny bit more movement up there, and then it kind of gets stuck. So I need to kind of just have a look at all of this and go over it. My task for today was to put the moped back together. We couldn't get a front brake functional, which is so annoying because it was functional on the other bike yesterday. But what happened was the crud in it, it was just functioning while it was sealed. If you could have brought it all over as a sealed unit, it would have stayed sealed, but you couldn't. It was impossible to get it all through. Once you'd opened it up, the crud just went through and went nuts and ruined it. Both master cylinders. One of the lines, you couldn't blow air through, it was completely crudded. So that's that. New advert's gone up, £300 for the bike. I haven't mentioned any spare parts or any spare bike, and that should help people kind of work out in their heads what they're buying. You're buying a moped that starts but needs work for 300 quid, or you can parts it. I'm not too fussed. Right, what's next for me? I want to have a little look at the seat, because I mean, I've been doing loads and loads and loads of back and forwards with the seat. I still have two faults in my head, only two ever. One is to get the original seat pan so that because it pivots like this, and maybe secure this to the seat pan and then still have that motion and it would look factory, or to get an original seat, cut some foam out, thin it down and get a better shape, although the rear would be square. It's a tough one. It's always a tough one. At the moment I'm waiting for Laguna. He's turning up. He's coming to have a look at the garage. I'm not putting the battery in until he gets here so that he gets a chance to see it up and running and gets to see maybe a first test run today.
I just think about like, because I remember I was saying on the channel.
I mean, Rabjab's 125 will make it, but yours will struggle. Alright guys, so we've got Laguna here. I won't put him on camera because lots of people don't like that. Obviously Sultan and Rabjab. Laguna's building this bike. We're not quite sure what we're calling it. It's a maxi scoot. It's going to be a naked. A ruckus is what you call these in America. The Honda make them, and they are like this. They're kind of naked. It's MOT'd apparently. I love these levers. I'm going to look at using these next. What we're working out is how we bolt this stem down at the moment. I'd be going through the original bolt and making the line underneath, so you'd be clamping it. But I think I'd probably go all the way through the middle as well, and put a second bolt all the way through. So you'd have one bolt going all the way through. That's kind of stopping it going and doing anything, and then you'd have a clamp tightening it. So you'd have a double whammy. The one thing you'd have to do with that is your markings would have to be dead straight, because you know how much people hate a slight discrepancy in their steering. Any markings you do, it would have to be kind of done once really, and you couldn't. I think that's lined up, but Laguna would have to kind of do it himself. Over here we've got cb200. It's got a battery in. I think we'll be able to fire this up and maybe put it into gear actually. I've done enough work on the brakes for it to be okay, so I think I'm going to attempt to fire this up and take it for a very quick spin.
I was here for like 3 days. I go on a bender with some uni students, and all of a sudden everyone's become bloody professional. Look at that! Like, bloody hell, everyone's gone professional. Only thing saying about here is Rabjab's still trying to figure out where the battery is. Where is the battery?
The battery's done.
Is it? Alright, so what's the plan, Charlie?
Fuel on, kick it over, pray that it starts.
So hopes and dreams.
See if it will run.
Alright, let's see if she runs.
That lasted long. JB World I need. Right, so obviously I can't bridge the solenoid. I need to hope it starts on the key. I need a longer.
Don't stop filming.
Yeah.